Welcome to EntreProgrammers Podcast, the podcast for developreneurs, the podcast where you get to be a fly on the wall listening to real conversations of three developers trying to tackle the challenges they face as entrepreneurs.
All right, we're live.
Sweet. What a crazy week. Chuck, we can't hear you.
Can't hear me?
No, I can hear you very faintly. You're coming through a mic that sounds like it's possibly in the other room.
It's not the mic in front of you. For sure.
I hit live too soon. It sounds like you're underwater.
We didn't test the audio.
Now it sounds like nothing.
Is that better?
There we go.
There we go. Yeah.
That's weird. It has my setup on there twice, and it somehow, I don't know.
Nice.
All right, cool.
So yeah, we were just talking about the promotion we did with Mental Toughness, and we're about like 12K of revenue right now, a little over 12K. So
yeah, it's been kind of a crazy week.
Yeah, it's interesting. Oh, go ahead.
No. I was just echoing the fact that it's been way more interesting than the productivity one, because the productivity one was always like, we didn't do anything, any kind of testing or anything. It was just one thing that just kept on going. Here we just went wild with all sorts of testing.
Yeah,
right.
It's interesting how the price points made a pretty big difference. Thinking that, so it's kind of interesting too, because it was like the initial thought was add 20 more book summaries and sell it for a higher price, but there's no perceived value from the customer of having 20 more book summaries. Like it basically is worth nothing to the customer. The price is the more, right. So you could have less summaries and it would be fine.
I was originally thinking of promoting the extra 20 summaries as like a bonus. And we could have done that as an in-cart bump. That would have worked really well.
Yeah.
We could have priced it at $29 with an in-cart bump for the extra 20. And I think that would have worked really, really well.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Although the in-cart bump for the productivity worked well as well. Yeah. So it was kind of an interesting learning, because I think, price sensitivity mattered a huge amount.
Right.
And it was really that 29 point, because we dropped it down to 19 at one point, and it didn't really seem to matter at all. I mean, we didn't leave it there very long. And then also just like how valuable the in-cart bump was and how valuable the upsell, like both of those were killing it, basically like a 25% uptake on that.
Yeah, I think if we'd gone down to $9, it would have dramatically increased the. So again, those breakpoints that I've heard cited over and over are held true here. $9. So going above $9 will drop your conversion rate a lot. Going above $29 will drop your conversion rate a lot. Going above $49 and then $100, and then it goes out to like $500 after that.
So there's no point between 99 and $4.99.
What's that? So it's usually like, what I've heard is usually like between $9 and $29 it's not, you're not going to see a huge change. It's usually when you go above 29. I think we've seen that with the book too. I feel like on Amazon, like when we go above $29, when we go above $30, like 30, at one point we were selling for like $33, and it was way down. Like we were selling like 2 or 3 copies a day. And then when it got down below $29, again, it jumped back up to about 10 copies a day. So that seems to be I don't know what it is about that point, but it seems to be consistent.
Yeah. I mean, we were talking EPC, right? So from 29 to 19, the EPC actually started going down. So that was scary. 29 to 39 as well, EPC was down. 39 to 40, EPC was down even further.
Yep.
So 29 was like the sweetest spot for earnings per click. It's pretty amazing, at least so far. And the bump is working pretty well. Even today, I think we're just looking at today's numbers. We're doing almost 50% bump or upsell
So what's the bump? So the bump is doing about the upsell was doing about 28%. What's the bump doing? So Chuck, the in-cart bump is like check a box. You're like on the checkout page, check a box, and it adds the extra product right there in the cart. So what's that converting, Manny? Like what's the roughly?
I will have to go look separately. What it's showing me right now is 13 customers, 21 sales. So basically, 13 intent sales and another 8 upsell / bump.
Yeah.
If I look at yesterday, just yesterday, it's 60 customers and 86 sales. So again, 50% uptake.
Right.
60 to almost 90.
Yeah.
Yes. On the bump and the bump and the upsell are both higher ticket, right? So uptake on the higher ticket, not higher ticket, but same or higher price. So 50% on both days right now.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of it too. Like I think what we're seeing today is because the live stream video, because Manny and I did a live stream on Wednesday night, and we basically promoted the Bulldog Mindset course, saying that it was only available. First, you buy the Mental Toughness, then you'll be presented with the offer. It's a special offer. You won't see this price ever again. Super discounted price, and this is the only way to get the course right now. And I think a lot of people are viewing that. I got to look at the video on YouTube and see, but I think we're getting more views on that now because people are, as they're checking their YouTube.
Yeah.
And I think that's so we've got 1,277 views on it.
So the other interesting thing was, so we had the cart. So the cart, we had an expiration on the cart, right? And then it expired like during the peak time when people, basically Manny.
I screwed up the Thrive cart.
Yeah. So we had like a bunch of people probably about 100 people that maybe tried to buy that got turned away because it closed. The offer had closed. So I sent an email yesterday, and I decided to try an experiment where I only sent the email initially to the people who had already clicked on this offer on any of the previous emails. So it was 927 people, and out of that tiny little segment, we made like 30 sales. So and then I tried sending it to people that had opened the previous emails, which was I started with a 20% slice. I was going to send it to the total opens was about 16,000. I sent out to about 2,800, and we only got like 20 clicks. It was really, really low. So I decided not to bombard everybody again.
What might be interesting to do though, well, it's good since you've done that. We're talking about doing this. What about sending out an offer to everyone who didn't buy, and sending out an offer for $9.99, like to hit that $9, like hit the next price point level and see what. Remember, we did that with the JavaScript, and we actually ended up increasing. I can't remember how much, but it was a pretty significant amount that we ended up making off of that. But it might be worth sending that deal out and saying that, hey, this was so popular, we want everyone to be able to get this, and here you go. We're going to offer this one time for $9.99.
Aren't we going to spoil the customers for future?
There's no such thing. I keep on telling you this. There's no such thing, because here's why. I wish I had a whiteboard now. Here's all your customers, okay, and then the overlapping, that little, like for one product and the overlapping for another product, it's fairly small. Every time we run the slices, it's really not. I mean, repeat customers, yes, are your best customers, but in the grand scheme of the universe, it's still a very small segment. And of those people that actually care and pay attention, that you're actually going to lose of them because of that, that's an even fucking smaller slice. But you always have new customers coming in and a new influx of people on the email list. So it just doesn't make sense to even care about that at all.
Okay, so let's say, we had 900 people who clicked, right? Even if we make 10% sales, that's like 190 people at $9, like $800. That's not even, didn't really move any needle for us, right?
Okay, so you don't just send it to the people who clicked. You just send it to the entire.
I don't want to send any more. I don't want to send any more emails to the whole list.
would be dangerous, man.
We're the uptake, like the people that, I mean, I've sent like, at this point, I've sent like 5 or 6 emails, and just out of 55,000, only 1,000 people have even clicked through. So I just don't really, it's just like, it's such a small percentage. I don't really think it's worth, because I mean, the people that didn't click through don't even know what the price was.
Yeah,
the price was in the email.
True. Right.
So they're just not interested in the topic. That's
so. Right. So then you'd send it to people who clicked potentially.
Yeah.
And then I mean, but it would be more than about $1,000 of revenue, because remember, you'd have the upsells, and
in-cart bumps and everything.
Yeah. So that could be maybe like 1,500, 2,000, which, I mean, that's almost a 10% revenue increase.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting pretty optimistic with all of those numbers there. 10% sales on any kind of email campaign is pretty optimistic.
We got for the 9,000, for the 900, we made 3%.
Yeah,
sales at the.
But this is something we've tested before. If we send that out to the clickers and drop the price, like that $9 price point will move people for sure. Because if they've seen it at 29 and considered it, and some of those people had seen it at higher than that.
Okay, if we do this, I'm gonna send this out, and the subject line is gonna be "Help me win a bet." And it's gonna be like, I told Manny that this would work, and Manny said no, this would never work, and that's the angle I'm totally going with on the email.
Oh man,
do it.
You live to fight another day. There's so many more promotions we could do. Let's not dilute the whole thing with $9 right at this point. With the bumps, with the upsells, with multiple upsells in the future time, I think there's a lot of opportunity. $9 is just like the upside is so small. Even if you make another $1,000, it doesn't really do anything for us.
I would like to do one in the future about learning topic. Learning.
What I can do, I can create a subset of the product called self-confidence and self-esteem.
Right.
Hack. And it will be 20 books, and we sell that for $9.
Okay, yes. Do that.
No mental toughness. It's just self-confidence, self-esteem stuff.
Right. And we can just tell the people that if we send it to the clickers only, which I don't know that, but I guess we should just send it to the clickers.
If we do that, that's a good idea. Yeah, if you want to do that, I'll do that for sure.
Because then you can just say to the clickers, hey, look, we said that you're going to get this other deal, $29. Sorry you missed out on that, but we compiled the list of the best 20 instead. Like, this is a condensed version. This is the best price.
Take away some value. Like you're chopping it down, so it's like a different product essentially.
Well, literally, like we stop selling mental toughness and we sell confidence. It will be a good test to see if confidence. Yeah. We say, hey, we're not like right now we're selling 20 book summaries on developing your confidence, blah, blah, blah. That's it. Like, forget the mental toughness. We'll just separate it out so people don't even bother about it. Yeah. And it'll be a separate sales, everything separate.
If you do that, I can sell that. I think I can sell that without just straight up in the emails, like without any kind of special limited time anything. All right. I found that so with the $5, this is where I want to go in the future is to have lots of $5 products with upsells on them, because I can sell like from email. I cannot sell. It's very difficult to sell the $99 learning product that we have, even though it's super popular. It's very hard to sell it straight up without any kind of discount. But I can send out one freaking email about and link to that stupid blogging workbook, and we sell like 25 of them. Yeah. It's ridiculous. So if you give me if you can give me a few like $5 to $9 offers like that, I'd be happy to put those in the rotation, and I'll just maybe every other week or once a week even I'll throw one in the mix. And
okay. So what
learning would be one, learning and then reading, and we talked possibly doing like how to read a book, the confidence. If you can like productivity, I'd like that one.
I can actually take just the 15 books specifically for a specific agenda in part.
Go through the career guide, get John's book, and look at the chapters and do bundles around those chapters.
Oh yeah.
Can you guys send me the book?
You got to buy it, man. Yeah, we can send you a link.
Okay. I mean, we know concepts like confidence, self-esteem. The other one that came up quite often when we were doing the live stream was like how to like handle interview stress and pressure. So I guess just performance under pressure could be one package all by itself.
Yep.
Like how to perform under pressure.
Yep. And then things like just look at the book. There's pretty much every chapter in there. I think you could do a package around. My long-term plan is I want to have products for every chapter in that book.
Okay.
Like different courses, different price points, like, done with you type of thing, or done for you, or all the way down to like, $5 thing that they can grab to get some help with it. So yeah, let me grab a link for you here.
I think I already bought your book, by the way. For the promotion, I bought it. Developer, so I didn't really go through it, but I bought it because you were doing the promotion at the time, and I wanted to support that. So
I'll give you a physical copy so you can put it on your bookshelf. I'll even sign it.
Awesome.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, if at any time, I think we were talking about it as well, like, because people were asking about performance under pressure and job interviews. If you guys want to put that on the timeline at some point, I'd be willing to do product for that, and that we could do a higher price point product than like more like interview cake kind of price point.
Yeah.
Still deliver on that promise, because it's a pretty important thing for any developer, especially if you're going to a coding interview. And shit is on the line. There's a lot of pressure. I know that.
Yes, I would love that. I would be extremely excited about that.
Speaking of which, it might be good to do another interview cake soon.
Yeah, I know. I've been talking to Parker about that. Parker's actually working. I told Parker he needs to get multiple price point products in play, and he's working on that too. So we might be, just heads up, Manny, on that. We might be doing more.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to do combined carts like that, but it could be one upsell, like one of the parts as a bumper or upsell. But hard to combine their cart with our cart and get all snazzy with that shit.
I was it's funny. I was actually listening. This price stuff is really interesting now. I picked up. I'm listening to the audio version of Predictably Irrational right now. And there's quite a few interesting concepts in there. I was thinking about one thing that would be interesting with the simple programmer products is to put a price decoy in, and to like, because we have everything single price, and I like the single price model simple for the simplicity, and I don't believe that the 3-tiered model actually sells more overall, but having a price decoy could actually increase the conversion rate of the, if you think of it that way, right? So for example, let's take the 10 steps to learn anything quickly. If people go to the page and it's only $99, there'll be a certain uptake. But if there's like a $400 version of it that, that we don't want anyone to buy, it's just stupid dumb to buy. And there's a $79 version that is like also stupid dumb to buy because it's just a gimped out version. It's just like, it only includes a very, very small subset of, it doesn't include any of the bonuses. Then that price decoy will probably increase the conversion rate on the $99 version to a decent amount. It might be worth testing something like that.
Trying to find. I'll make a note, Nanny. I can't find. I'm halfway through the Google Drive migration here, so.
So the confidence one, you guys want to do it this week, or it doesn't even matter at this point?
No, I don't want to do any more promotions for a little while. I need to get.
When do you want me? Like, what's the time?
Okay, so I can pick a time. So why don't we do? I would rather do. Well, the confidence one. Okay, if we just do that as just if that's just like one email, I could do that whenever.
All right.
So as soon as you can get that done, yeah, I can do that next week or something.
Yeah,
but
the bumps and the upsells in place.
Yeah, that would just be an interesting experiment. And then, but yeah, I'd be happy to do another one of these maybe in like, I don't know, March sometime maybe, if we can get one, like especially if we can get one that's like directly derivative of the career guide type of content. So whether it's interviewing, whether it's like another thing I really want to do is like basically job hunting strategies, or like kind of how to get your first job type of stuff.
Ooh,
so
we're gonna compete.
Yeah,
There is
Bring it, boy.
co-opetition, Chuck.
Yeah, exactly. Co-op.
Okay. Well, so I will get the confidence pack ready. For the interview mindset, like your peak performance, or do you have a timeline that you want me to work towards? Or?
Well, I'm not. Let's figure out a couple of ideas. Maybe you take a look at the book and come, because the main thing with the interviewing that I'm finding is that I think that the interview cake works so well because it's data structures and algorithms, not just interviewing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I pitched it that way, because this is the problem with interviewing is it's probably only 1% of the list that's really thinking about interviewing at any given time, maybe 5, right? It's like, and John says this in the book, actually, John, I'm reading through the book again, and like, it's really funny because like get to a chapter and then like, it'll be exactly what I'm thinking about that day. But yeah, like
you should go through the audio version. So you'd be like, oh shit, the audio version's all fucked up. There's all these things.
But 5% who are in the interview mode is that they are going to be crazy buyers, though.
Potentially, yeah. No, you're right. Yeah. But again, like when only a small segment of the list is interested in it, then only you got to figure that only like a third of them are even going to open the emails, right? So if
you proved it with interview cake, right?
What's that?
You guys kind of proved it with interview cake, like how many sales you made, right? It was
but again, I was pitching it mainly as I was actually pitching it more as like learn data structures and algorithms. That's really important. And when you get to the interview, you're going to kick ass. But it was almost more like, this will help you make you a better programmer overall, is how I was pitching it. But yeah, like I talked to I got numbers from Thinkful finally. So the bootcamp promotion that we did in January, which we did really well. Like, so we ended up sending them about 5,000 clicks in 3 days. And so I was very curious. So we were pitching like the boot camp that we were pitching was they have a new payment option where you can basically work with them for free, work with Thinkful for free. Then when you graduate, they'll get you a job, and then you pay a portion of your salary for a couple of years. So it's great because it like puts all the risk onto Thinkful instead of you as the student. So anyway, so we did a big email blitz, 5,000 clicks. I finally got numbers back from them this week. Of course, it was on Monday, because bad news always comes on Monday. So we generated 5 enrollments, and it was like, yeah, I spent probably 20 hours on that promotion, maybe, I don't know, and so I was pretty disappointed. But then I was thinking about it, and I was like, okay, this actually makes perfect sense now that I think about it. I did a survey last week where I asked, what's the breakdown of our list? So like, how many years have you been programming? How much experience do you have? And about 17% of our list said that they were a new programmer looking to land their first job. Okay, so or either in college or a new programmer looking to land their first job. So we've got 17% of our 68,000 people potentially are candidates for this offer. Well, then you have to slice that down to only a third of those people live in the U.S. Anybody outside the U.S. can't enroll in Thinkful. So now we're down from 17% down to what, like around 8. We'll call it. So now we're down to 8%. Now then you have to figure that a bunch of those people aren't just going to be in a place in life where they can just drop everything for 6 months. So now we're down to just those people. And of those people, they have to open emails and read them. And only 25% are going to open the email. So now we're down to like 2%. 1 to 2% of the list was like a candidate for actually, likely to really consider this offer, be good candidates. So yeah, so five was the result.
Well, you only got 1% of the list to click on our offer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
So yeah. So but anyway, my point in that is that in the future, what I want to do is really be careful about not chopping the list off, like not micro segmenting the list like that, because every time we do it, it's disappointing. So JavaScript Launchpad was the same deal. It was like 20% of the list out of the gate would even remotely consider JavaScript. So now we've gone from 50,000 down to like 10,000, and so now you're selling to that much smaller group. And so what I want to do is avoid that as much as possible. And I want to be selling to stuff that's relevant to the biggest possible chunk of the list at any given time. Right. So productivity was a good example. Pretty much every developer is going to feel that pain. Learning, like the learning course that we have is like the far and away the most successful. And anytime I do anything where I tie what we're selling to learning, it's like goes supernova. So
your email, it was titled "This Learning Hack is Kind of Ridiculous." You had crazy open and rate on that, right? Compared to
exactly. Yep. So
speaking of which, Josh, what the heck happened? We're alive again. Do you see it? Have you seen sales for the last 3 days? It's like it's like
I know.
every day.
I think we're starting to see. So we had the our product sales have been just sort of like flatlining for the longest time, but I think we're starting to see people from all the new SEO traffic we're getting are starting to hit all go through the sales funnel. And I think we're starting to see people. You see the increased signups are starting to generate some revenue now. So that's pretty cool.
Because we're seeing close to like $800 days, $1,000 day. Like there's a few of those in there.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm really excited. I turned on WooCommerce yesterday or day on Wednesday. I turned on one funnel. So we have one funnel with one upsell is now going through WooCommerce, and it is wonderful. It's working so well.
Which one is it? Is it the blog course?
The blogging course and the 10 ways to make money upsell are going through WooCommerce. And then so basically everything happens in WooCommerce, and then I'm using Zapier to add them to Podia after they purchase, and then all the course delivery is happening there on Podia. So I have full control of the end-to-end purchase experience, and then we're using this other software to deliver the product. And it seems to be, it's working flawlessly from what I can see. And it seems like so far the tracking in Google Analytics is spot on. That's been a big pet peeve of mine. Like whenever you use a third-party shopping cart like Thrivecart or Zaxa or anything, you get like your Google Analytics tracking, you lose like a third of the transactions. They just don't even show up for whatever reason. So
I don't see any sales.
You're probably looking at store.simpleprogrammer.com.
I am. Yeah.
What am simpleprogrammer.com/store.
Oh, so the t-shirts are still on the other one?
Yeah, I need to move the t-shirts over. I still have a lot of work to do, but.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But yep. So it's working. I'm really excited. So I'm going to try it. I think next week. So I had Podia. So Podia, I know the guy, the founder is named Spencer, and he's pretty awesome. So I gave him on last Friday. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I have to get this. I have to get somebody else to help me create the courses on Podia because it would take me like 2 weeks to do it. So I spent an hour. I bundled everything up, put it in Dropbox, sent a video over to Spencer, and he had it all done on Monday. I was like, sweet.
Wow.
Yeah, he did the whole setup for me. So now all I have to do is just do the WooCommerce piece and
Yay for slave labor is good.
I know.
Sales page doesn't really have any, or your store doesn't really have any sales pages in there.
They're all they're product pages. So you don't even see the store or right now you don't even see the store or anything. You just go product page, checkout, like it bypasses.
EntreProgrammers.com/store, and I see all these products, but they're not sales pages. They're just like view products.
That's because nobody goes to that page.
Oh, I see.
I'm linking people to simpleprogrammer.com/store/products/how to create a blog or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm
and
doing
that's
the
a
same
sales
thing
page
with Thinkific, and like they give you a sales page on Thinkific, and I'm not even doing that. People sign up, through the conference website or whatever, and then Zapier just adds them in and sends them an invite.
Yeah, exactly.
On Thinkific.
Yep. So
because those pages are freaking ugly anyway.
They are ugly, and you can't.
They're terrible.
You never have enough control of them.
Yeah.
So
I'm not Teachable's default. I think 3 of us are using 2 different teaching platforms.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. WooCommerce even supports, like, John, it supports partial refunds and everything. Like, we won't have to do any, like, we won't have to have our support team won't need Stripe logins or PayPal logins or anything. Like, they can just do everything through WooCommerce. It'll be so nice.
It's good to own the storefront, the capability. Like,
because the content delivery is kind of like we can move that. Later if we want to build our own, we can make that investment. But for right now, this is like, it looks so much better. It works better. It's easier to set up the courses. Like, it's just like wins all around to go this route.
Yep.
So
nice. That's good. That's cool.
All right, I want to say one more thing and then I'll shut up. So John noticed that the website that we got like half usual traffic on Wednesday. So
and you might be wondering, why the fuck does John keep on checking the stats on the sales?
I was wondering this myself, but he seems very well informed for someone who's not involved in it.
I know. I'm fucking blaming Manny because he's making me work.
Oh yeah, for something that I'm not even like involved in.
Nice.
All right, so what happened? So this was the weirdest thing. So I noticed, so on Friday morning or on Wednesday morning, I logged in. I know, so we got a notice in Slack that the CPU on DigitalOcean was running high, and I was like, okay, that happens once in a while. And then I noticed I logged in around noon, and I was checking something, and I happened to notice that in the WordPress stats that the page views looked really low, and I was like, no, that's kind of weird. And then there were 3 or 4 other little warning bells that I ignored. I saw an email in John's inbox that said error on blog post, and I was like, oh, I'll look at that later. But what had happened was somehow WordPress had reverted the permalinks back to the date post name format. Okay.
Oh shit.
So what was happening was we had an Nginx rewrite rule set up, right, to catch those and forward them to delete basically to delete the date and just forward it to the post name URL. So what was happening is the request would come in for post name, and then WordPress was going, oh, I know that actually means this post name. So it would expand it out, put the date back in, which would trigger the rewrite, which would trigger the whole thing. So it was it was infinite looping. And so it was crushing our CPU. And this was going on all day. I noticed that the push notification for the new blog post didn't come out. That didn't register. So around 3:00, I'm finally something finally clicked, and I was trying to view a blog post, and I was like, it won't load. What's going on? So I think this is really weird, but it seemed like, remember how I said that when we first made the cutover, when I was working with our server guy, Carl, he was like, and I made the change, and then he was like, whoa, what are you doing? No, change it back. And I changed the setting back to the original so that Carl and I could talk about it, but it didn't take.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And it was kept going back to the permalink to the new setting without the date. Well, then it seemed like what happened was like a week later, somebody jiggled the handle or something, and it actually took effect. Because I tried to change it multiple times when I was working with Carl, and it didn't take effect. And then I also noticed that this happened with something else, because we have some custom CSS in part of the site that we were trying to delete. That was just like, it was in the database. It's custom CSS, and we moved it to a child theme. But every time we would, so I was working with Lewis, and he would save the change, and it would the CSS would reappear in the data, like in the field. And then when I reset the cache and everything to fix this issue, the CSS was gone as well. So it's like these database related changes somehow got stuck, and then it seems like somehow they actually went through later, and it screwed everything up.
Oh, yeah. So one thing, like if you change any major settings in WordPress, because of what we've got, what happened is the Redis caching is what.
Well, Carl and I cleared all that. Like,
we gotta make sure you clear the Redis one, like the other caching. Okay. But the Redis caching caches the database, and so WP options table gets cached in there, and so there's some weird shit that can happen with the WP options table, because if you do the update and it writes to Redis, it hasn't necessarily written back to the actual database at that point. Okay, so it's supposed to, and I think the source of this has to do with how certain plugin authors or certain, what they're calling, because technically the write should be writing to the database, and the database should be replicated to Redis. It should like invalidate that key cache. But I think there's a different way to write to WP options where it's ended up writing just to the Redis cache, because I've noticed some plugins have problems. So anyway, I don't know if sometimes I wonder if our configuration is worth the hassle, but whatever.
I wonder that every day.
But as long as Carl supports it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So my week is, anyway, that's just one of many things that have been fun this week. So, Chuck.
Yeah. So I had to turn off caching on DevChat as well, for whatever reason, and I don't know why, but it was just Ruby Rogues. It wouldn't publish new episodes, like they wouldn't show up in the listing on the website. Everything else, fine. You could browse directly to the episode, fine. Just wouldn't show up in the episode list. And I'd go clear the cache and it'd fix it. And I was like, I'm just gonna zap the caching right now. So I don't know if it's something in the theme or something else. I do want to eventually just switch it off of that theme onto something that's a little more standardized. But yeah. So I feel your pain there.
we have like, I think we actually, John, I don't even think we have anything about the Redis cache in the wiki.
There's something. It says how to clear the Redis cache.
Okay, all right. So yeah, we've got like 4 or 5 different caches and multiple CDNs and like.
It'd be nice to. I was thinking about doing a video where I was like, okay, this is like how it works. Like we have WordPress here, and then we have Redis cache.
You need to draw me like little cylinders and like little clouds and
and then a CDN and
I really need that.
Yep. So
explain it like I'm 5.
Yeah.
Anyway, so for me, it's been kind of an interesting couple of weeks because I was at conferences. I flew in last night, flew home. It's so nice to be home. Oh my gosh, when you're gone for like a week and a half, and the hotel rooms were terrible. Like the first room was, well, how do I put it? It was. I mean, I don't care if the room is like super nice, but if I need something from the hotel, I kind of expect them to deliver it. And the first hotel, I think I mentioned this before, they checked me into a dirty room. I wound up not paying any attention. I slept in there for like 5 hours. So I slept in a bed somebody else has slept in. But I haven't developed a rash or anything, so I think we're okay. And then
this wasn't a swanky motel, was it?
No.
Like Holiday Inn? Not a Holiday Inn, I hope.
No, it was lower end than that. So
it didn't smell like butt in there, did it?
It did once I closed the windows.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right, just checking.
Anyway, so they moved me to another room, but then it was an extended stay, so they're like, we'll provide dishes and all this stuff. And I requested dishes like 2 or 3 times so I could just, make something quick and easy. And anyway, they didn't bring it. And so anyway, they wound up comping me the room on Friday night. But then I went to San Francisco, and the room there, the Wi-Fi was so bad that I actually went and got a Wi-Fi hotspot at Walmart because they just couldn't figure it out. And, I'm like, this is ridiculous. We'll reset the router. I'm like, that doesn't help.
Part of your story bank, man.
Yeah, I should like liken it to to programming and send emails to my newsletter or to the people on my list. Anyway, so that was fun. The air conditioning didn't really work, so I had to leave the windows open at night so I could get a cross breeze because there were 2 windows. And anyway, so that worked out nice, except somebody was playing like some kind of wrecking derby with dumpsters or something outside because like 1 a.m. boom, crash, boom for like an hour. So I mean, it was miserable. The hotel room was actually kind of nice, but anyway, it just had a couple of issues that made it kind of miserable to be in. But anyway, other than that, made a whole bunch of connections. I probably came away from NG Atlanta with like 20 or 30 recordings.
Oh, nice.
And
wow.
So I have plenty of stuff to kind of back into content for Adventures in Angular. And I'm kind of tempted to put like, this is another thing. In fact, I should just show you guys this. Here, let me share my screen. So,
oh wow.
So I've been working on this system for the podcasts.
Hey, that looks exactly like Blue Tick.
Like what?
Blue Tick.
Oh, Blue Tick.
Yeah, there's like, what is the UI kit that you're using? Like, is there
it's admin LTE. Yeah.
Okay, I've seen like at least a dozen different tools that use the same.
It's pretty popular and it's pretty easy.
Okay.
But and it's based on Bootstrap, which I know some people hate, some people don't. But anyway, so I've just been working on, putting in the episodes and marking which ones are scheduled and which ones are recorded. I'm not sure if I've uploaded these, so I'll mark them uploaded here in a minute. The next couple of episodes, but this is the one that's supposed to be recorded next week, and we had the guest reschedule.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm kind of tempted, since we have episode 178 and episode 183 spaced out more than a month. I'm kind of tempted to fill those in with content from NG Atlanta. And then if we do wind up recording, which we probably will next Wednesday for Adventures in Angular, then we're 3 weeks ahead. And then, later in March, because I have the recording date right here, then I'm 4 weeks ahead. And what that does is it sets things up so that, I have plenty of lead time for all this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And then the other thing is the next step after getting all this stuff in, you can see on the dashboard that the open sponsorships number mirrors the unscheduled episodes. That's because I haven't set that up yet to fix the placement stuff.
You should get on that, Chuck. Something went wrong.
Yeah. So anyway, so I spent a whole bunch of time, when I was in the hotel, because, what the heck, right? I spent some time watching the Super Bowl, but other than that, I had time to work on this, so I did. And so, so if I can get this information in as well, this is over 13 weeks. Okay, so it's just hard-coded to 13 weeks.
Okay.
Because that's the time horizon that I'm looking at, because 13 weeks is basically a quarter. And that's kind of the unit that I still have people buying sponsorships in, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So if I can just say, hey, 13 weeks, blah, 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 that kind of gives me an idea. But what this also tells me then is like Ruby Rogues has 4 episodes available, or, that don't have guests scheduled on them. within the next 13 weeks. And so what I'm going to do then is, what's her name? Michelle, who works for me. I'm just going to be like, look, on Monday, your job is to go in here and look at this dashboard. So I'm going to give her access to this dashboard. I'll just set her up as a sub account of my account, which is kind of the next thing after the sponsorship stuff that I add in. So she'll be able to come in here as kind of the scheduler and assistant producer and see how many unscheduled episodes we have and, you know, what kinds of open sponsorships we have. And then she can go and do all the outreach to get people to schedule and do all the outreach to get people to schedule sales calls with me for sponsorships. And, you know, so she can just look and see, oh, okay, we don't have any open placements for JavaScript Jabber. But, you know, Chuck's talked to a few people who are interested in JavaScript sponsorship. So let's go fill the spots we have on my JavaScript story or, you know, my Ruby story or whatever. And that way we can just kind of keep things rolling. And, you know, so she can go do the follow-up every week. So there'll be follow-up. And basically, I've written out the process for this, too, for scheduling episodes. So that, and I put that all in Google Drive. But essentially what it says is go reach out to all the people that you've invited onto the show who haven't gotten back to you and said no. And then go to like Ruby Weekly or JavaScript Weekly or Reddit or whatever and find contact information for the people who are posting stuff there and, you know, invite them to the show. And then as I kind of go through my stuff, so like when I'm doing next Monday, I have scheduled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 podcast interviews. You know, as I talk to those folks, what winds up happening a lot of times is, oh, you're working on this now. That's really cool. Let's do an episode on it. And so I pull those in so I can invite people too. So if I run across something interesting, then I'll invite folks on myself. But in the meantime, then the other hosts can do the same thing. But then it just makes it really easy for her to look and see, oh, we've got openings, you know, let's go fill them.
What are your typical listenerships on each of these shows?
So,
or maybe it's not typical. But...
It varies by show. So JavaScript Jabber, we get about 25 to 30,000 downloads every episode.
Jabber?
Yeah. Ruby Rogues and Adventures in Angular probably hit about 8 to 10,000 per episode. And I haven't looked at the numbers for a while. I'm not like John where I'm looking at the numbers every day.
Why
retired? Well, when you're retired, Chuck, you'll have more time to do that. So,
well, the other thing is that eventually I want to tie this in so that it's pulling the numbers off of Blueberry, and it'll actually tell me this, right?
Right.
So, you know, this is going to be sponsorship, you know, spots and maybe a sponsorship revenue here, and then this is probably going to be like a traffic indicator. And
I'm killing it with likes though, man.
Yeah.
41,000 likes.
Where are you getting these likes? I don't understand. There's no one liking my podcast.
It's hard-coded data, right?
It's hard-coded off of the template, yeah.
It's just...
Yeah, this is the only one that's actually pulling from the database. And even this, I haven't filled in the rest of this, so it's probably going to go way up to like 80% once I get them all in. But yeah, so right now it's just working this. But then if I'm in it, you know, and if she's in it every Monday, and I can. The other thing is I want to work Zapier in so that if somebody schedules an episode, it just automatically like on here, right? So if somebody schedules for you know the end of April or the beginning of May, which is where we're at now with JavaScript Jabber, it automatically just fills it in and sets it to scheduled, and that way I don't have to do any of that work. You know, I might tweak the title a little bit, but yeah.
So that's looking really cool.
But the thing is then it just gives me a place where I can come and know how things are going. So, yeah, and then you know I'd also like to automate some of the other stuff. So it's like, hey, if you like the episode, here's a page where you can just go share to all the social medias or something like that. I'm not sure what all of those other features are right now. I'm just trying to get it to an MVP for myself. which basically comes down to scheduling and sponsorships. I'm probably going to move the RSS feed management stuff over here to Podwrench as well.
What's your typical CPM for these?
So the way that I do it is, I can actually show you prices for, actually, let's just do this. So I have the sponsorship spots right here. So the pre-roll is $50 CPM. And so it came out to like 8,500 downloads per episode.
Okay.
And so, mid-roll was 45 CPM. And so that came out to like 476 and change or something like that. So I just rounded it up.
How long is it? 30 seconds?
Yeah, it's 30, 45 second spots. The post rolls are $40 CPM. And the reason is because almost everybody who listens to the show will hear the pre-roll. Nearly everybody, but not everybody, will listen to the mid-roll. The post-roll actually comes in before the picks at the end of the show. So there's a segment after the post-roll. But, some people, as soon as we start heading off of the tech content, they're just like, boop, and they're on to the next thing. But most people will listen to this part too. But anyway, the level of engagement is pretty stark, from one level to the next. So I feel that's why there's a different charge at the different spot.
The CPM is the same for other shows as well, or is it different?
Yeah, it's the same for all the other shows. So like JavaScript Jabber, I think it's like, it's like 1,500 or something because of the.
Yeah, $50 CPM is pretty good for any industry. I think John Lee Dumas is talking about like around $20 to $30 at best. That's what he gets. Yeah,
well, I mean, John's stuff is a little bit different. One is that he has a much, much, much larger audience. And so, you're kind of getting into the companies that do the mass marketing stuff at the level he's at. Right. And so you're pricing it, you're competing at that point with like TV and radio kind of thing.
Well, right? They're all and they're B2C. I think that's the key, is that most of them are B2C versus B2B. So.
Well, the other thing is that with John's audience, he also has a wider array of things that he talks about. I mean, he's talking about business, but business covers a lot, right? Yeah. And a lot of times my sponsors, they want to reach programmers, or they want to reach programmers that do a specific technology. And so because I have the niche, what that does, I'm going to turn off the screen share. What that does is it actually... no,
that makes sense, yeah.
It sets things up so that they're like, well, I'm going to get a higher ROI because this is my target market.
Makes sense.
Right.
And so I can charge a little bit more that way. And it does turn some companies off, and other companies, it makes it work.
As long as you your slots, you can continue to raise the prices, right?
What was that?
As long as you're continuing to fill the slots, you can continue to raise the price.
Yep. And that's kind of my main focus at this point, because we've got a pretty solid process for filling up the podcast episode. So we always have guests, which was kind of the major pain that I had, was just, making sure that the content was consistently produced and released on time. And to a certain degree, we still have that issue a little bit because I don't always get all the information to Eric on time. But this system will help with that quite a bit. And then but now that I've got that handled, I mean, it's just about, filling those sponsorship spots, just nailing those things down. Because, if I can fill those spots, and I just need to talk to more people. Yeah. Then things work out pretty well for me. But anyway, I've been super happy with it. And I'm really looking forward to giving, Eric and Michelle access to this, because Eric is the editor, I'd give him a slightly different view, but then he can get in and he can see, okay, these are the episodes that are ready to be edited. They've already been uploaded, etc. And if all the sponsorship spots are filled, or if it's coming up next week, then he can just go in and say, boom, because I don't know if I showed you guys, if you could see it, but so the button, that I hit to say it's recorded or uploaded, once it's uploaded, it's on start editing. So as soon as he hits that, it'll close it to sponsorship. And then as soon as he's done editing, he can mark it as finished editing. And that way I just know where it's at, right? And it'll also trigger emails and let people know, if they're responsible for the next stage where things are at. So anyway, it opens up a whole bunch of possibilities for me as far as keeping track of all this stuff. So yeah. Anyway,
Chuck, the whole drama with Bubba was the best thing that's ever happened to your business.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
seriously, I mean, because you can't get where you want to go without this system.
Yeah. Right. Well, and that was the thing she handled everything.
Right.
The problem was that and the whole fight was about, it was
working well enough that you were comfortable.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, you needed to get out of that space to be able to.
Well, the problem was that I couldn't afford to grow.
Right.
Yeah. That was really the problem, was that I couldn't afford to grow because, I could probably find sponsors for the other episodes, but it was really painful to move up because, anyway, she wanted to have full, complete control over the entire process, and it just, I needed to have control over it. Yep. And so this kind of opens things up because I do have full control. I even have control of the software, which is
oh my goodness, having control of the software.
Yeah. So I'm working through a lot of this stuff. It's funny because it keeps evolving, right? I keep using it and then I'm like this sucks. How can I make this better? And then, so I revamp part of the, part of the system, and I'm like, oh, that's so much better, right? And so, just one step at a time, and eventually I want to make it so that a lot of this is just automated. Right. So, for example, like when I hit recorded, uploaded, right now is just marking it as the next stage. But what eventually I'd like to do is I'd like to mark it recorded, uploaded, and then it says, okay, what file are you uploading? And then it'll upload it over to Google Drive or Dropbox or whatever I'm using. And then when Eric's done, instead of having him put it on the server via FTP, again, it's like, okay, upload the edited file, and it just pushes it through FTP onto the final system, and generates the URL to download it and puts it in the RSS feed or schedules it to be in the RSS feed. And that way I don't have to do any of the other garbage. The other part of a lot of this is WordPress. WordPress has an API. And, right now what happens is Eric writes the show notes and then he posts it to WordPress and to the feed software. And so why not just put a WYSIWYG editor in here? He drops it in there, and then it goes, okay, great, and then it pushes it up to WordPress, and it pushes it onto the feed. And then if the other thing is I'd like to put a few other links in the text of the feed, and so I could just do that, right? Here are the sponsors, here are the links, here are a couple more links that I don't want to put on the website. I just want to put in the RSS feed. And that way I can drive a lot of this stuff and just make it automatic. And it's funny because I've talked to a few podcasters, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm working on this system and this is kind of what it does. And they're like, so when can I have it?
I was just about to say, as you're saying all this, I'm thinking $1,000 a month SaaS product.
Yep.
That someone will gladly pay you $1,000 a month, and that'll be $1,000 that they spend every month. That's once you get this done and working for yourself.
Well, that's the thing, is that if I get everything that I'm talking about into this, so that it's all pretty much automatic. I mean, at that point, I just have people feeding guests into the system, and then the editor working, the other parts of the system, but everything else is automatic. I don't have to have anybody go update anything else.
Yeah.
And, and so I may have like a technical writer for my show notes and an editor for my podcast editing. I'm just thinking of like different roles in, and they may be the same person or not. And, and maybe a scheduler and maybe even like somebody doing sponsorship sales. And those are the only people that need access to this. And they're only managing a very narrow part of this. And the software does most of the rest of it, because like the sponsorship stuff, I mean, holy cow, what I'm doing with a lot of that is the next thing I need to do with it is set things up so that if I have remnant space, I have a set of sponsorships that go into the remnant space, right? So it's affiliates or, my own products or, whatever those wind up being. But then as soon as he hits start editing, it goes, oh, this is close to sponsorship. It has a spot open. Boom. That's in there. It's all set up. It's scheduled to go. And we're off to the races. So anyway. So yeah, so I've been putting in some work on this. I sat in that hotel room and sweated my face off because the AC didn't work and wrote a lot of software. So
you literally put sweat and tears into it.
Yeah, I did have a lot of this together already, but just moving it through the different stages and making it easy to see what's going on, and then starting that dashboard is kind of what I did over the last 2 weeks while I was at the conferences. Nice. So I pretty much did the interviews, and then I just went and worked on this and caught up on some sleep and watched Super Bowl. So anyway, yeah, it's not quite ready for anybody else to use, but it's getting there. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to a lot of that. And then I think I can go pitch this to people. One thing that I'm also wondering about, and I guess I could use some feedback on, is that I've had some people reach out to me about representing them for sponsorship. And so I'm, one other thing that I think I might wind up adding. Well, I do want to add the roles for sponsorship manager, and so they could just add me as a sponsor manager to their stuff. And then it's like, hey, look, just use my system. But yeah, I'm wondering if this leads at all to actually being one of those marketing networks that marketers come to and say, we want to show on this topic, during this time period. And then we go and we talk to podcasters and fill it, right? And so they can say, look, we want this much exposure to this demographic, or we want to just see what podcasts you have and sponsor specific ones. And if we can work something like that out, because I've also had a few smaller shows come to me. They have 500, maybe 1,000 listeners. So they'd be going out and they'd be working for like $40 or $50 a pop, and so it'd be a lot of work to get that. But if I can say, look, I can give you exposure to 10,000 software developers that do iOS, and it's across these 5 or 6 shows, and they're all smallish and they all get their cut, I'm also wondering if there's a market for that. So I may wind up going toward being like a marketing agency as well, but I'd need to hire people to do a lot of that work, because I'm definitely not there myself. But the flip side of that is that then I could also have those people go fill the spots on my shows, and I wouldn't even have to do the sponsorship sales.
I'm almost positive there would be a market for that. Yeah, because you basically what you'd be doing would be very similar to, honestly, like what Google Display Network does for advertisers, which is like you can pick websites by vertical, by topic, and say, I want websites that are about cars or about, Porsche or whatever, and I'm just going to show my ads on those. And that's basically what you'd be doing versus, trying to go around and as an advertiser, like nobody's got time to go around 50 different websites and try to get display advertising.
Well, yeah. The other thing is that, if you're at the level of John Lee Dumas, again, they're talking about reaching this, thousands and thousands of people reach, I don't know what his reach is, but, so it's worth the bigger bunch, agencies and the bigger companies to go to him because they reach that number of people, and that's the level they want to deal with. And so, if we can get I consider myself kind of a mid-level sized podcast. I mean, we are one of the largest we're one of the largest podcast networks out there, based on listenership, but still, compared to them and NPR and stuff, we're small fries. But if we can pull enough of those together, then we can start negotiating with some of these larger companies that want to do large ad buys
and even
at a level that I can't give them right now.
Even somebody like a John Lee Dumas, right? Like he's got all kinds of topics that he covers. So if you had him on your site, or if you had him on your software, you could tag episodes with topics, and you could sell topically that way. And so they could get, they wouldn't be buying John Lee Dumas anymore. They'd be buying, a million insertions on podcasts about,
bookkeeping. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah, I've thought about doing that too, as far as tagging episodes, but I don't want it to be a ton of work for the podcasters, and so there's got to be a happy medium there. I just don't know what it is.
Oh, true. Yeah, that makes sense.
But if I can get, and this might be a little bit of chicken and egg, but I think once you get momentum with it, it might work out. So then what you do is when you have the sponsor sign up, you have them pick, so they put in keywords. These are the things we target, and then you have the podcasters come in and say, look, these are some of the popular tags. So if you tag your stuff, we may be able to sell an advertiser on your stuff, right?
Right.
So then, like Intuit for bookkeeping or Intuit for accounting, or, where they wouldn't be interested in sponsoring some small fry.
Which is interesting because it's actually similar to what I'm doing with SEO. You're actually generating information about demand.
Yeah.
Because if you've got all these shows tagged, and they're either they're empty or whatever, you can group them up like that. And you can go after sponsors based on the availability of the content that's being created.
Right.
Interesting.
Anyway, so that's where I'm at. I'm probably going to be working through a lot of this next week. But I also want to get just processes around all of my stuff. And I feel like that would be a decent companion to this as well is, hey, look, this is how we schedule our stuff, and this is how we use this system to do it. And that way it's not just, here's a system, use it. It's, here's how to save yourself a whole bunch of time with scheduling shows.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Anyway. So that's what I'm doing.
Thoughts? Let's go to thoughts.
I talked a lot. Sorry.
No, it's cool.
So did I.
All right, I got some thoughts. So
get rid of them fast.
So Monday I was going through kind of like one of those. It's so weird. I was like, screw this. I don't even want to pursue the fitness goals anymore. I just want to give up on everything, like burn it down type of I guess like a mild depression, really, to be honest with you. No real super reason why. And it's just been hard to run. It was hard to get through the stuff. Tuesday it was kind of similar, same thing. And then Wednesday we did I'm not sure where I'm going to weave all this together, but there's some lesson in all this. But Wednesday, we did the promotion. Manny and I went out afterwards. We did a live stream. We went out, hung out a little bit. I don't drink very much, but I drank a little too much. I got hungover, had a horrible headache. Went to bed at 3 or 4 a.m. and then woke up at 8 a.m. Or I guess maybe 9. And then I went for my run. And when I got home that night, right, I was doing good on the diet, right, and everything. But I got home at that night at 3 a.m. I started eating shit out of the refrigerator, so it was not good. I was like eating these mashed cauliflower, which is damn good. Mashed cauliflower is good, but cauliflower mash or whatever. Anyway, so I didn't go like super crazy, but I was like, I felt horrible about it, and I was like, I didn't get sleep, and so I'm supposed to. The next day is Thursday, which is my run 5 miles in the morning, run 5 miles in the afternoon, do the kickboxing class, which was yesterday, right? And so I don't know, for whatever reason, like I get up at like 9:30, I'm getting ready, I go for my run at 11, and I run 13.1 miles. And no problem. I'm just like, freaking, this is awesome, right? And then go to my kickboxing, and I'm just like kicking ass, and here I am today. And so, and actually now I'm hitting like super, like just like progress wise, the body fat percentage on the scale was 8% this morning. So like I'm just making like ridiculous progress. And I fasted all day yesterday. I didn't eat at all yesterday. So it's just like bizarre. I guess like my thought for that is really just like, again, I say this all the time, but I have to remind myself, just fucking hang in there, right? It's like you just have to hang in there a lot of times. And yeah, maybe there's some rhyme or reason. Maybe maybe mashed cauliflower gives you fucking superpowers. I don't know, right? But maybe it's a combination of cauliflower mash and vodka. I don't know. It's something like that. But by all means, yesterday I should have been down. I should not have been able to run 13.1 miles, and I should have just been wiped out. But for some reason, whereas on Monday there was no reason. Like everything, I should have been good. Like I should not have a problem. So I guess that I don't know. Like it really just comes down to, and I forget this myself, because when you're kind of in the shade, you forget that there's sun, right? And so you got to remind yourself when you're in the shade. It's like, again, I talk about it all the time, but don't blow shit up. Like just like grit the teeth, bear through it, get through, and then you'll find that life is like a sine curve. It'll come back up around again. But it's what you do in the downturn that makes the bigger difference in life, because in that downturn you've got the time you've got the ability to blow all your shit up. And if you do that, for example, if on Monday I would have said, on Monday I'm there at the gym, and Manny can attest, he's probably like, John's fucking whining. He's a whiner today, right? Like fucking, what is this
during the mental toughness promotion?
Right. And in fact, yeah, that didn't escape me. We were talking about that too. I was like, I can't believe I'm being fucking bitch during the mental toughness promotion, right? But
well, this was after we had to delay it because Manny got sick. So
yeah.
Oh my gosh, I had so much mental resistance to writing those emails too. Like I just did not want to do it. It was like, so all of us were like.
We powered the damn thing, and we're hoping to get to 13K now.
Yep.
Yeah. But if I would have given up on Monday, if I would have said, I'm not going to the gym today, Manny, or I'm like, and if I would have said, in fact, after that, I was like, Tuesday morning, I'm waking up early and fucking running again, right? Because I was starting to like, and if I would have said, no, I'm not going to do that, I'm just whatever, then I wouldn't have made it to where I am now. Like I'm now at a better place. Like as far as the fitness goal, even with that small snafu, like I've more than recovered. Like I'm making that progress, and it's a serious progress. But like if I had given up, if I had thrown in the towel at any of those times, I wouldn't have made it through to the light at the end of the tunnel, and had that's the thing that could jeopardize your entire thing. And I think a lot of people don't realize how important it is. And it might be the same point that I made last week, but it's really, really important to remember this. And I say it because I have to remind myself all the time, because when you're going through it, you forget about it, and you got to like remind yourself, like just hang in is super powerful.
So I have some thoughts that are sort of tangentially related to this. As I went to the conferences and stuff, I actually took the opportunity to blow some shit up, as John would say. And what it really came down to was Obviously I didn't go and blow my business up or, do anything stupid that, is going to wreck my home life or anything. But at the same time, I spent a bunch of time doing the recordings at the conferences and stuff. But when I wasn't at the conference, I'm working on this, or if I didn't feel like working, I just didn't. If I didn't feel like, doing specific things, I didn't, I just rested. And, and so sometimes you just need that change of pace. I mean, I basically had a week and a half change of pace, and I didn't realize how desperately I needed that until I came home. And, and I'm hanging with my wife last night, and, and then I get up and, things are kind of back to the routine this morning because it's a school day and all that stuff, right? I mean, my weekends are freaking crazy these days. But, I just kind of came back and took a deep breath and realized, you know what? Things are good. And I don't feel so overwhelmed by everything. And it really just came down to, taking that break and taking that breather. And so, yeah, the stuff I did blow up are things like I did not do keto at all while I was at the conferences, right? I didn't worry about working out. I didn't worry about when I went to bed. I didn't worry about when I got up, except for like a couple of days where I had to go and record early. But even then, it was pretty flexible. I didn't worry about so many of these things. And, I got this stuff done because it was what I kind of felt like working on. And yeah, I mean, sometimes, you do need to blow shit up, but when you're going to blow shit up, make sure that it's the stuff that you can kind of let slide for a little bit and realize that, you can give yourself a break and then come back to life and go, okay, now I'm ready to go fight this thing again.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah,
I
don't think I contradicted John, but at the same time,
exactly what John said, only the opposite.
Yeah.
Well, it's about having it's damage control. It's about the box, right? It's like, yes, you can, it's like, well, and I can't speak for you because I don't know if you did this or not, but like you said, you went off the keto, so you missed the keto for the week. There's that's like a finite box of damage, right? Whereas if you're like, I didn't do the keto for a week, instead what I did was I pigged out on the buffet every single day, motherfucker. Right? That's blowing shit up, like seriously blowing. That's the bad thing that where you set yourself back so much negative progress that when you come back to reality, you're like, oh well, shoot, now I'm not motivated, and now I have to like make the trek back up the hill.
Yeah, and see, I didn't really feel like that. I did eat a lot of pizza, but I don't feel like it's I've got to slog my way back up the hill. It's okay, I know the way forward now, and that's what a lot of this it's weird because it was programming, but that's what a lot of this did was just I know the way forward, I know what's next, I know what I'm after. And then at the same time, so getting back into keto is just part of the program at this point. But on the flip side, I wasn't so stressed about all 10 zillion things. And I know what I've got to do, and I'm just going to go nail it.
Yeah.
So, it's okay to take a break from it. And the other thing that I learned through all of this is I always feel like there are a million more things I got to get done. And I keep thinking, oh, well, when I finally get to the point where I'm not overwhelmed by all this stuff, I'll do this thing or that thing. And I realized that, you know what? A, I'm never going to get to the point where I feel like I have that margin. And B, when I let it all go, which is pretty much what I did for a week and a half, stuff didn't blow up. And so, it's all okay. Just figure out what's okay and just go with it. Okay, I'm done talking.
All right. Well, I guess so. I've been going round and round, continuing to go round and round with Pluralsight about trying to get. I'll try to keep this short, but basically, so they had increased our commissions last year. We did a ton of work for them last year, to try to drive them, a lot of traffic. And then first of the year rolls around, they go, okay, well, we've ended that bonus that you were getting. So now, like, I'm going back and forth with the affiliate manager, and he's telling me that we need to provide incremental exposure for them in order to justify getting back to the commission that they were paying us last year. So, and I sent him this email last night. I got really frustrated, and I sent him this email, and I said, basically, what do you mean by incremental exposure? I said, just in the past 4 to 6 months, John and I have put a lot of new promotions in place. And then I listed out, like, I think 9 bullet points of things that we did, like adding them to the navigation menu on the site, adding them. We published 17 blog posts mentioning Pluralsight, dozens of YouTube videos, a freaking best-selling book, 25,000 copies sold, that mentions Pluralsight 30 times. So, like, please tell me. Oh, and we did 9 broadcast emails, including the Black Friday one that drove 3,000 clicks in like 3 days, and generated it for us $30,000 in commissions. I'm like, please define for me incremental exposure. Like, what exactly is it that you want from us? And what I was thinking about this morning, I realized what the problem is. So in my world, kind of like the marketing world, if you have an affiliate, you treat them like gold, because they're basically volunteering to give you, they're sharing their audience with you, right? In Pluralsight's world, they look at affiliates as a cost. The affiliate manager made an offhanded comment to me about, oh, we're just trying to keep down the costs of, and I'm like, this is insane. Like, there's no cost here. Even if you pay me 50 cents of every dollar that I bring you, you're getting 50 cents you didn't have before. Like, it's a completely insane way of thinking about it. But what I realized about this is that their mindset is, we have all the power here. Basically, they've got all these captive authors. Like, I think most of their affiliates are just authors, right? And the authors are captive because they've created their content and given it to Pluralsight. So the authors are stuck. Basically, if they want to make any money with any of their stuff, they have to promote Pluralsight. So Pluralsight doesn't care. Pluralsight doesn't have to treat you, doesn't have to court you. They don't have to try to, treat you with respect or anything. And so it just reinforced to me the fact that, like, in every relationship. So I'm thinking about this like as a partnership, right?
There's always a bitch.
I wasn't quite going to say it that way, but yes, there's always in every relationship there's one party has the power, and so you need to realize that and always be positioning yourself to be the one that has the power, because otherwise the other person's going to have it, and you're not going to like what they do. You don't have to treat them that way. If you have control, you also have control of the relationship and the tone of the relationship. If they're in control because you're trying to play nice, then you're basically just going to get beat up all the time. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, I will see. I'm still working with them. But I'm about ready to just, like, I told John, I'm like, I was like, all this traffic that we're sending them is going through 30 pretty links. Do you know how long it would take me to take all those pretty links and put them over to Udemy? Like, not that long.
Right. Well, you should really test taking like
some of it.
Yeah, take some of it and then track it. And if the revenue, if the EPC is higher on Udemy, then it's like, well, sorry, we're not monogamous, so.
I think that's what I'm going to tell our affiliate manager. So I think I'm going to tell him, look, I don't, whatever you want to do is fine. I have 10 different offers that I can promote. You're taking up one of my slots. If you don't produce for me, you're out. Right. Sorry, buddy. Like,
what are they doing, like, in terms of how are they changing the rules of the game for you guys?
Well, so what they used to do is they would pay you for free trials. They're paying us $30 for a free trial, and then they would pay you if somebody signed up. If you sent them somebody and they signed up directly to the site and they paid up front instead of doing a free trial, they paid for a subscription, you'd get a cut of that. What they change it to now is they only pay you $5 for a free trial, and then the person has to convert, and then they pay you a slightly larger a slightly larger commission if they convert. But what ends up happening is I'm almost positive, I'm like 95% sure that they structured this in such a way that everyone's going to make less except for them. Because it's like they're switching affiliate software. So this gives them a great opportunity to shuffle the deck in such a way. And I went back and I looked at our numbers from October, and I manually calculated what I thought we would have earned, like my best guess about what we would have earned. And it was half. Like basically the way that they changed the commission structure. I'm pretty sure our EPC is going to be cut in half, which is so far is what I'm seeing. And Ross is like, he's like, oh, it's not, it's just because you haven't been doing it long enough. Another tip is that anytime someone says, oh, you just haven't been doing it long enough with this marketing stuff, a lot of times it's, it never works out. But
you have
it's a red flag.
EPC numbers from like a Pluralsight now?
What's that?
Do you have EPC numbers for Pluralsight, like what you're getting out of it?
Yeah. I mean, we have it. Our EPC was for January was 51 cents.
Oh,
so
that's through email promotion.
That's mainly clicks from YouTube, and we didn't do any like broadcast emails in January. We absolutely killed it in November with the sale that we did, but that was, specific thing.
Yeah, I mean, if you evaluate everything to the EPC metric, then you can very quickly come to decisions as to where you take your traffic.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think somewhere around 75 cents to $1 probably makes sense for us. I mean, that's still dirt cheap traffic. Like, good grief. Like, if you went and go bid on Google AdWords for that, you're going to be paying $5 or $10 a click. So, and it's probably garbage even at that point. So,
yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, my thoughts. I think I had a lot of fun actually juggling around with the numbers. So I kind of go back to their philosophy, business is numbers. And it was a lot of fun just working the numbers and trying to figure out what was optimal in terms of the bumpers, in terms of upsells. And I felt like we're just scratching the top of the surface right now of how deep this stuff goes with the numbers. Like we can literally, now I feel bad about the promotions that we did last time, like the productivity one, how we could have totally killed that one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, the numbers, like if you get numbers, like if you understand numbers, and then you have a huge leg up in business. And I think that's a great thing for us developers. Kind of, we can handle numbers compared to a lot of other people.
Cool.
All right, cool. By the way, Josh, slide this down, simple program.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
He's down.
It goes my afternoon.
He's down.
Website's down.
All right.
Josh was the end of the week, Friday, buckets, blow shit up, party.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna do RM/, screw it all, sudo RM/.
All right, guys. So we'll see you next week.
See ya.
Take care.
See ya.
Bye.
Wanna start a business, but you just know how to code. Listen to John, Josh, and Derek as we figure it out. We are the EntreProgrammers, and we'll teach you straight up.